There are tons of wheel options out there. Some of these wheel options can be pretty cheap, and some of them can get pretty expensive. But there's also a third option. You can build your own wheel. Hey Pit Crew, I'm here back with another video, and this time we're going to be talking about the Pokornyi HYP-R wheel. And this wheel is a DIY steering wheel that you can build yourself. And with this wheel, you can go either the full DIY route from building the plates, the electronics and everything, or you could source the parts and DIY what you're able to. Now, if you watched my live stream of the build of this wheel, you already know for the most part what I'm going to be talking about in this review. Before I get into this review, who do I think this wheel is for? Well, I think this wheel is more for the people that like to build, customize, and craft their own things. It does take some moderate skill how to build this wheel, and the hardest part is going to be following instructions and the soldering part. If you've watched some videos on how to solder, then you should be good to go. But if you know how to follow instructions, I can't help you there, guys. So buying the digital files is going to be the first thing you want to do. It contains all the instructions, the build list of materials, the 3D files that you can either 3D print yourself or source out to JLC, for example. It contains the PCB files that you can either, you can source out too. The firmware, the LED profiles for SimHub. And what I really like is that all these files are editable to really customize your wheel. It's going to be a little hard to give you like an exact amount of how much it's going to cost you to build this wheel, because again, it really depends on how much you want to build yourself and how much you want to spend on sourcing out parts. But for you, I'm going to give you how much it cost me to build my wheel, and I'll give you like a little breakdown of what everything that I did to build the wheel myself. First of all, I had to buy the digital files from PE, which were €45. And from there, it gives you all the instructions, the build list material of what you need to purchase. So from PE, I ended up buying the plate kit, which includes the front plate with the silicone grips, also including the back plate, along with 2 sets of shifters and then the paddles for the clutches. That cost me around €180. Then I also bought the PCB board, which includes 4 rotary encoders already installed on it, 10 buttons, the LED lights, and that one was €129. I ended up buying the aluminum casing, which was €120 that goes on the back of the wheel. I bought a set of shifters that was €109 with magnetic shifters. The front plate glass that goes on the front, that was €24. Then I also ended up buying the buttons, the knobs for the funky switches, and the rotaries. All that together cost me around €83. The stickers, which you can also print on your own, were €12. And then from Leo Bodnar, I ended up buying the hall sensors, set of 2 for €17. Encoders, which I bought 2 of them, which were for your thumb rotaries. Those were €10. And then I ended up buying the buttons for the shifters. That was another €12. I also ended up buying the Vocor screen, which is €53. And then the 3D print material roughly cost me around €6 for all the stuff that I 3D printed. And then from AliExpress, getting all the screws and all the other stuff, that go into building the wheel, that cost me roughly around €70. So if you add all of that up, it costed me roughly €900. But again, it all depends on what you want to DIY yourself. You can spend as little as €500, and you can go all the way up, going past €1,200. Again, it depends on how much stuff you want to build yourself and how much you want to source out, and then end up building the wheel for yourself. And also, going off that list, you can see it's a lot cheaper than buying a wheel from Rexon, for Precision Sim Engineering, or GSI. Is it going to be as professionally made as their rims? Well, it depends on your crafting skills, and it depends on how much you source out the parts too. But that's not really the point of DIYs. It's not how much your build costs, it's how much you enjoy doing that build, how happy you were when you finished that build, and actually learning something from that build. And that's not something you can really put a price on. And for me, the first time that wheel lit up, I was over the moon, and I was so excited to see how my build was coming along together. So let's take a look at the wheel. The rim size is roughly 295 millimeters. The front plate of the PE, you have the silicone grips, and they feel really nice. They're not too hard, they're not too soft. They are a little bit thin, but when you're wearing gloves, it's not really an issue. We can see on the front, we have 10 push backlit buttons, and they feel really nice and clicky. Especially when you have this button guard right here, it's really hard for you to press the wrong button. We also have 2 funky switches, one on each side. That's going to give you a rotation function. It's going to give you left, right, up, down. and also a push function. We also got our thumb rotaries, one on each side, where you can go up or you can go down. Then we also have our 4 rotary switches that you can rotate, and then you can also click to go down too. And the really cool thing about this is that we got the LED lighting. So on the buttons, we've got 4 LEDs per button, and then on the rotaries, we got 6 LED lights. And you can fully customize how these LED lights behave with SimHub, given specific behavioral functions depending on the situation. And you can really go crazy with those lights if you know what you're doing in SimHub. We also have 10 LEDs for the RPM strip, and then we also got 3 LEDs on each side. And you can use these 3 LEDs for anything for example, ABS activation. You can use it for traction control, for DRS, you can go crazy with how you want to build your LED profiles. Now, I'm also going to include a link in the profile that I built down in the description down below so you can grab it from our Discord. There's also the Vocor M Pro 5-inch screen that you can use any dash you want. Right here, I'm using the lovely dashboard, but again, you can use whatever dash you want. Now, looking to the back, now you can see on the back, you have your dual shifters, and you can also go with single shifters, and you can also 3D print the cover up where you're not going to be using the shifters. And then you've got your clutch paddles right here. You got the master and then you got the slave, depending on how you set it up. Again, if you don't want to use the dual clutch paddles, don't want to print them out, there is a cover that you can use to 3D print and place it over the holes where the connections would go through. On the back plate, you can connect a 70mm QR or any adapter to get it to fill any wheelbase that you have. And then we also got the coiled USB connection that provides the power to our wheel. When you get the wheel fully built and good to go, you'll have to start up SimHub. SimHub should automatically recognize your Vocor screen. If you have never used a Vocor screen before, it will begin the installation of the drivers for it. And when you're in the settings for the device for your Vocor screen, you can use any dashboard that you want. You're not stuck to just the lovely. If there's any one that's out there that you like or that you've built before, you can select it and it will pop up on your display. It will also recognize the wheel as a separate Arduino. I do wish it recognized it as an actual device like it does with GSI wheels or like the SimMagic or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it's a DIY wheel. I'm not too worried about it. But once it does recognize it and you get it installed, you can load up LED profiles that are already out there for the Pokornyi HYP. If you go out there looking for it, you can build your own, or you can download the one that I made, just following the link down below, or joining our Discord where I also have it saved for our Discord members to use it also. I really enjoyed building this wheel, and I do plan on building a few more from PE. I like the fact that you can go full DIY, you could source some of the parts, or buy all of it, and it really depends on your skill level. The instructions and the files are really clear to understand, and you can also contact PE anytime if you need any help, or you can ask me in our Discord too. The wheel itself, looking at it when it's put together, is really nice, and it reminds me of the Cosworth wheels you find in prototype cars, but it can also be used for open wheel and GT cars. I did find the grips to be a little on the small side, but they're very comfortable, they're not too hard and not too soft, and it's not really an issue when you're using your gloves. But if they're not to your liking, you can also make your own grips if you want them to be thicker or thinner. The buttons are very nice and clicky, and all the rotaries and the funky switches have a nice resistance to them, making sure they only rotate as much as you want them to. Now, looking at the PE magnetic shifters, they also feel really nice and they have a very good resistance, and they do also allow you the option to swap them out for stronger or softer magnets if it's not to your liking. Even the ones that I 3D printed came out really nice. The clutch paddles have a very nice resistance to them according to the list of material that they give you, and I also went with the Hall sensors from Leo Bonner. Again, I just wanted to make sure I used the highest quality electronics I could use. In the end, I do think this is a great wheel for people that want to make their own and don't know where to start, while giving you tons of room for customization and eventually learning how to build your own. You can use the files they give you to make your own or send them out to commercially build or CNC machine. For sure, I really do want to build another rim for PE. The next one's probably going to be the Rally rim, and all going after that is probably going to be their GT rim. But we'll see, I'm not for sure yet. but I will for sure live stream the build like I did for this one because I had a lot of fun doing that, and also having people hang out and talking to me while we're doing it. That's it for me, guys. If you have any questions about this build, you just can ask here or join our Discord. We do have a DIY section for builds like this. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when we have more videos coming. And until next time, guys, have fun racing. Later.